Hello, Colorado! Are you fired up? Are you ready to go? Are you really fired up? Are you ready to go vote? I know a bunch of you already voted. But if you haven't, there's still time. Can everybody please give Mike a big round of applause for the great introduction and his service to our country. Give it up to your outstanding United States Senators, Michael Bennet and Mark Udall. And one of the best governors in the country, John Hickenlooper. We've got your former mayor and a great friend, a member of my national team, Federico Peña. One of the finest congressional delegations any place in the country, right here in Colorado. We're so proud of all of them. Please give them a big round of applause. Now, for the past several days, all of us have been focused on not just elections, but we've been focused on what's been happening on the East Coast. One of the worst storms of our lifetime. And as a nation, we mourn those who were lost. You know, unfortunately, the people of this town understand what it means to grieve better than most, because the wounds of that terrible shooting are still fresh in people's minds. But just as you've begun to heal as a community, we're going to help our friends on the East Coast heal as well. We're going to walk with the people whose lives have been upended, those who've lost loved ones. We're going to walk with them every step of the way in the hard road ahead, because that's what we do as Americans. We help our neighbors and friends rebuild. We will carry on with a spirit that says, no matter how bad a storm is, we come back. No matter how tough times are, we will thrive, because we're all in this together, and we rise and fall as one nation and as one people. Colorado, that spirit has guided us along this improbable journey for more than 2 centuries. It's carried us through the trials of the last 4 years. In 2008, we were in the middle of 2 wars and the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression. Today, our businesses have created nearly 5.5 million new jobs. The American auto industry is back on top. Home values are on the rise. We're less dependent on foreign oil than any time in the last 20 years. We've doubled our clean energy production. Because of the service and sacrifice of our brave men and women in uniform, the war in Iraq is over. The war in Afghanistan is ending. Al-Qaeda is on the run. Osama bin Laden is dead. We've made progress. These last 4 years, but Colorado, the reason you're all here, aside from wanting to hear Dave Matthews, is that we've got more work to do. As long as there's a single American who wants a job but can't find one, our work is not yet done. As long as there's a family working harder and harder and still falling behind, our work isn't done yet. As long as there's a child anywhere in Colorado, anywhere in the United States who's languishing in poverty, barred from opportunity, our work isn't done. Our fight goes on. Our fight goes on because this nation cannot succeed without a growing and thriving middle class and strong and sturdy ladders for folks who are willing to work to get into the middle class. Our fight goes on because America always does best when everybody gets a fair shot, and everybody's doing their fair share, and everybody plays by the same rules. That's what we believe. That's why you elected me. That's why I'm running for a second term as President of the United States.
Obama, Obama.
Now, in Colorado, in 2 days, everybody in the country has got a choice to make. You've already made a choice, many of you, but there's still a lot of folks who have yet to cast their ballots. And they've got a choice between two candidates and two parties, but more importantly, between two visions of our country. It's a choice between returning to the top-down policies that crashed our economy, or a vision of our economy that grows from the middle class out, from the bottom up. And you know, as Americans, we honor free enterprise, the free market, the strivers, the dreamers, the business folks, the risk takers, who've always been the driving force behind our economic growth, the greatest engine of growth and prosperity the world's ever known. But what we also believe is our markets, our free enterprise system, it works best when everybody's participating, when everybody has a chance to succeed, when everybody has a decent education, and everybody's learning new skills, and when we're investing in research and medical breakthroughs and new technologies. We think we're stronger when everybody has affordable health care, when everybody has Medicare and Social Security that they can count on in their golden years. We think our markets work better when there are rules in place to protect our kids from toxic dumping or mercury pollution, rules to protect consumers from being taken advantage of by an unscrupulous credit card company or mortgage lender. And then there are some things we actually think government should be involved with. For example, we don't think politicians in Washington should be controlling healthcare choices women are perfectly capable of making themselves. Now, Colorado, for 8 years, we had a president who shared these beliefs. His name was Bill Clinton. His economic plan asked the wealthiest Americans to pay a little bit more so we could reduce our deficit and invest in the skills and ideas of our people. And at the time, you may be surprised to learn that the Republican Congress and a Senate candidate by the name of Mitt Romney said Bill Clinton's plan would kill jobs, kill the economy. Turns out their math back then was just as bad as it is now. Because by the end of President Clinton's second term, America had created 23 million new jobs. Incomes were up, poverty was down, our deficit had become a surplus. So, Colorado, we know our ideas work because they've been tested, they've been tried. And we also know that the other folks' ideas don't work because they've been tested. After Bill Clinton left office, for most of the last decade, we tried giving big tax cuts to the wealthiest Americans that we couldn't afford. We tried giving insurance companies and oil companies and Wall Street the license to do whatever they pleased. And what we got was falling incomes and record deficits and the slowest job growth in half a century and an economic crisis that we've been cleaning up after ever since. So we've got ideas that work, we've got ideas that don't. We've tried both. We should be able to make a pretty clear choice, but you got to give him credit. Governor Romney is a pretty talented salesman. And in this campaign, he has tried as hard as he can to repackage the same old bad ideas that didn't work and offer them up as new ideas. He says they're change. He says they're change. Now, here's the thing. We know what change looks like, and what he's selling ain't it. Giving more power to the biggest banks is not change. Giving another $5 trillion tax cut that favors the wealthy, not change.
Jump change!
Refusing to answer questions about the details of your policies until after the election is over, that's definitely not change.
Jump change!
Ruling not compromise by pledging to rubber stamp the Tea Party's agenda in Congress, not change.
Don't change!
Changing the facts when they're inconvenient to your own campaign, well, we've seen that before, that's not change.
Don't change!
Now you guys get the idea. Not change. Here's the thing. You know, part of a presidential race is about policy, and part of it's about trust. You've got to have a sense of whether or not the person means what they say and say what they mean. And the thing is, Colorado, after 4 years, you know me. You may not agree with every decision I've made, but Michelle doesn't either. You may be frustrated sometimes by the pace of change. Guess what? So am I. But you know what I believe. You know where I stand. You know I tell the truth. And you know that I will fight for you and your families every single day as hard as I